What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Box Score. We're diving right back into the WNBA Finals, and Game 2 tips off this Sunday, October 5th, an early afternoon showdown that's got all the makings of a heavyweight fight. Vegas and Phoenix are both coming off an intense Game 1 that showed us just how good basketball can get when the moment gets brightest. In this video, we're going to break down what went down, what adjustments each team will need, the injuries that could change everything, and which side and total I'm leaning toward for Game 2. Plus, I've got one player prop that I absolutely love on this slate, and trust me, it's got value written all over it. We opened these finals strong, going 2-0 in Game 1, hitting both the over on the total at 159.5 and the Aces moneyline. Vegas came storming back in the fourth quarter, proving again why they're built for championship moments. That's now back-to-back playoff rounds where we've been riding a hot streak, and the momentum's carrying into this one. But here's the thing. This finals already feels different. These aren't just two great teams. These are two stories colliding. One of dominance, and one of defiance. The Aces are chasing history. The Mercury are rewriting it. Game 1 was a showcase of everything this league is becoming. Speed, power, emotion, IQ. Anyone still doubting the WNBA just isn't watching. Phoenix held the lead for most of the game, and at times, they looked like the more confident, composed squad. But when the lights got brightest and it turned into a 5-minute war in the fourth, Vegas flipped the switch. They held Phoenix to just 4 points in the final 5 minutes, a jaw-dropping defensive stand for a team that's often labeled offense first. The Aces forced 14 turnovers and converted those into 20 points. That was the difference. That's championship-level basketball. Now, before we dive into picks, we have to talk about the injuries. And man, they could flip this entire series. For Phoenix, the biggest concern is Sammy Whitcomb's knee. Midway through Game 1, she took a nasty fall when Alyssa Smith, inadvertently crashed into her leg, causing what looked like a bad hyperextension. She came back later, but it was clear she wasn't right. She moved gingerly, hesitant on drives, and her defensive rotations slowed down. You could feel Phoenix tighten up offensively once she wasn't herself. Then, to make matters worse, at the tail end of the fourth quarter, Alyssa Thomas appeared to injure her left hand. She stayed in the game, because that's who she is, but she wasn't playing at 100%. You could see her shaking it out, wincing between plays. Those two injuries. They're big. Really big. And yet, they were right there. Despite all that, the Mercury had the ball down 3 with 13 seconds left and timeouts in their pocket. That's not just effort. That's belief. You could tell this Phoenix team truly thinks they can win this series. They came into these playoffs as underdogs every single round and just kept burning every bracket in their way. And I'll be honest, when I watched Game 1 live, my first thought was simple. If Phoenix loses this one, I'm hammering them on the moneyline in Game 2. That was before the injuries, of course. Now, flip the page and look at Vegas. Chelsea Gray has been fighting through an ankle issue. Jackie Young cramped up late and missed time. Even Aja Wilson looked visibly gassed after her fourth quarter takeover. But that's the difference between these two teams right now. Vegas role players stepped up. Phoenix's didn't. Satu Sabally and Kalia Copper combined for 55 of Phoenix's 86 points. The rest of the team. Just 31. That's not going to cut it against a team like Vegas. The Aces. Bench outscored Phoenix's 41-16 while shooting 54% from the field and 50% from deep. That's the depth gap right there. When Vegas goes to the bench, the offense doesn't stop. It gets faster. So here's where it gets interesting. The books have set the line with the Aces favored by 2.5, total at 164.5, a noticeable bump from the Game 1 total. They're expecting pace, points, fireworks. But if you really watched that game closely, the intensity and physicality ramped up late. Both teams slowed down offensively. That second half pace. It looked more like playoff basketball. Grind, switch, battle. The first half was wide open. The second half was war. And that's what I expect Game 2 to look like from start to finish. Vegas is still the more balanced team. They have home court, and that crowd can change everything when momentum swings. But I'm still leaning Phoenix against the spread here. They've been the hungrier team all postseason, the team that fights hardest when they're cornered. They're banged up, sure, but if Sammy Whitcomb is even close to serviceable and Thomas can play through that hand issue, this team isn't going away quietly. They know how to counterpunch. They've done it all year. That being said, my favorite look for this game isn't even the side, it's the under. The Game 1 total opened at 159.5 and soared to 175 points. That's a massive swing, and it feels like the books might have overcorrected. With both teams showing fatigue, key players not at full health, and defensive adjustments surely coming, I'm expecting Game 2 to turn into a slower, more tactical battle. Expect more half-court sets, more switches, and fewer transition buckets. The physicality will be off the charts, and I think both defenses will dictate the tempo early. I'm looking at a total that sneaks under 164.5 by the final buzzer. Now, let's talk about the player prop that jumps off the screen, Satu Sabally over 17.5 points. She's been an absolute monster lately, hitting this mark in 4 straight games and doing it with confidence. Against Vegas, she's feasted. In her last 7 meetings with the Aces, she's gone over this line 5 times. The Aces, defense, ranked middle of the pack against forwards, struggles with mobile stretch players, and that's exactly what Sabally is. She's too quick for Wilson in space, too strong for smaller wings, and too confident to stop shooting. If you want an alternate angle, check out her 3-pointers over 1.5. It's juiced at -140, but it's for good reason. She's cleared that in 8 of her last 10 games and is averaging almost 3 made threes per game against Vegas this year. She's attempting 7 or more per game lately, and that volume alone makes it worth the play. The Aces rank 4th in limiting threes overall, but 8th when defending forwards. That gap matters. She's going to get her looks. So that's where I'm at. Mercury plus the points, if they're reasonably healthy, under 164.5 for the total, and Satu Sabally over 17.5 points or 1.5 threes is the prop play. Game 2 is going to be about who adjusts faster and who can impose their style. Vegas wants structure and control. Phoenix thrives in chaos. Whichever team bends without breaking wins this one. That's going to do it for this breakdown, guys. If you found the analysis helpful or entertaining, make sure to smash that like button on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already. These finals have been everything we hoped for. Storylines, drama, grit, and greatness. Enjoy Game 2, cash those tickets, and I'll see you back here for Game 3.